Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. This was looking as if it was going to be a really hot summer, not just in the temperature sense, but also in terms of India-China relations, especially after what happened in Ladakh. And then the Premier came here and suddenly it seems as if everything is just perfect. And a new dawn is about to break for India-China relations and everything's going to be absolutely perfect between the two countries. But is that really the case? Are we reading too much into what happened in the visit? What were the atmospherics about? And by the way, what was that Ladakh incursion really intended to achieve? So that's partly what we are here to try and discuss. And also the bigger question, I guess, as to whether it is ever going to be possible that it will be Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai and India-China partnership, or whether that's something which is just not going to happen one way or the other. And we have some of the top experts in the field to really tell us what they think is going to happen here. Joining us from Chennai is the editor of The Hindu, Siddharth Varadarajan. Siddharth, thanks a lot for being with us. Joining us here in Delhi, Tenzin Sundu, Tibetan writer and activist who was not at all happy that the Chinese premier was here in Delhi and also that he was kept some distance away from him when it came to the protest. Mr. M.K. Bhadrakumar, former Indian diplomat, was ambassador to Turkey and to Uzbekistan. We have it as Major General Sheru Thapliyal, who was, of course, former General Officer at the Ladakh Division, has also got a PhD in India-China relations. So, Dr. Thapliyal, perhaps, is what we should be calling you out here. K.C. Singh, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs, has said and written a lot on India-China relations. And John Elliott, foreign correspondent who blogs at Riding the Elephant and .wordpress, and has had a lot to say on all that's happening between India and China. So thank you all so much for being with us. Siddharth, why don't I kick off with you? The Ladakh incursion and then this visit by the Chinese premier, what does it really point to?
Well, it's very hard to decode and to fully understand and explain what the Ladakh incident was all about. Was it a well-planned initiative taken at the highest levels of the Chinese leadership acting as a coherent unit, or was it a military decision? If it was a military decision, was it taken at the highest levels, or did it occur by chance at the local level? You know, the Indian officials and all of us who watch are still trying to decode. It's clear that the Chinese are aware of the enormous damage that this incident has done for the bilateral relationship. And this damage has come not at any time, but it's come at a time when the world as a whole and Asia and East Asia in general are increasingly wary of what the Chinese are doing. So, you know, the perception that this is some kind of an own goal from the Chinese side, I think I would say that the Chinese are much more aware of this and that they perhaps have bitten off more than they can chew. So I would expect some kind of a course correction from them.
Okay, Tenzin?
For me, it's a very strategically planned trip. They came out with a bang by doing the incursion and provoked everybody and said and claimed territorial, made that kind of claims on India. And at the same time, when he was actually coming to India, he was saying, this is our first choice to come to India. So it was actually a whip and a carrot kind of a strategy which they tried to work out. But what really happened in India was a realization in India who is the real enemy. Is it really Pakistan or is it India? And for the first time...
You mean China?
China. So first time here in India, there has been Indians protesting the Chinese Prime Minister after a really long time. And therefore, the protesters were not just Tibetans, Indians came out. And this was a good realization for India.
Okay. Sir? Mr. Bhadrakumar?
I think there was some amount of deliberation in this.
In the Ladakh incursion, so it wasn't a blunder that somebody made, you think they deliberately did it?
Ladakh incursion. And I don't think it is accidental that it could have been done by someone at the lower level without the higher people, at the higher echelons, they are not knowing about it. I don't think that's the way the Chinese work. And also, this is a very important relationship, a very complicated relationship. And at the lowest level, the people would have been quite cognizant of this, that there is a new leadership in China. And this is going to be a trendsetter, what happens on the ground in Ladakh. So it couldn't have been an accident, and as I said, they couldn't have blundered into this. There's a certain ground situation which is developing along the line of actual control, and particularly in this area. And they have brought it to the fore, brought it to the front, up front, a certain type of situation may develop as a result of what has been incrementally going on there on both sides. And they say a forward policy by India, for example. And then an ugly situation, a catastrophic snowballing like in 62 could well happen. So they have brought it up. They have brought the highest levels of leadership into the picture, and they have looked for a de-escalation. Okay. And they wanted this, the timing is very important, they wanted this to be done out of the way before the Prime Minister's visit, because otherwise the Prime Minister's visit would have been a washout.